The scene is set at the One-Eyed Dog bookstore. Jacob Crowley has situated himself indoors, taking the time past Elysium to watch those passing through and do a little bit of follow-up work on his other business endeavors, looking in on information that Miss Breckenridge had provided him on locations that would suit his future club. One walking into the bookstore would first see the cafe area. He would not be there, but rather in his office. Instead, one will be greeted by the sight of several patrons, alternatively eating, chatting, and purchasing.
At this point, Moira comes through the door, looking at, is it the cafe or the books in the front entrance?
The first thing you'll see is the cafe. The books are off to the right.
Yeah. Looking around the store, looking at the books, before heading over to the cash thing is heading to the desk, asking if Jacob is there.
A middle-aged brunette woman will look up from her spectacles and smile to you, saying she'll ask, "And whom is looking for him?"
Tell him it's Miss Moira Peters.
Lady will nod, pick up the phone, an unnecessary accessory considering the office is right around the corner, but she calls, speaks to Jacob, and within a few moments he can be seen coming out from behind the cash rep from the office. When he sees Miss Moira Peters, he smiles and gives her a nod of acknowledgement. "Good evening."
Evening. Someone pointed out to me that I could come here asking for some books.
Indeed, I do try to keep a wealthy collection for the curious, especially those in our circles. What can I help you with?
I am beginning some research into some more obscure topics that are very difficult to find, and I wanted if you could help me.
I don't see any reason not to. Is it of or rather, the subjects of a sensitive matter?
Potentially. I'm just trying to find out what I can, given my current position, in order to be helpful and knowledgeable of some of those topics.
Understandable. He will take a step back in with a finger, and hold the door open to his office so that you may enter.
And Moira will go in with them, away from all the kind they're leaving behind, so that she can speak slightly more bluntly. Follows them in.
Once the door is closed, he will lock it. The lock is a simple sort one uses in a residence, so it can be unlocked from this side. It's more to keep others from barging in on the conversation. He takes a seat behind his desk, leans back, and simply lifts his hands up, palm up, an expression of, "What would you like?"
Is there another chair to take across from Jacob?
I'm sorry, what? Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes. Yes, I'm
Yes.
sorry. There is a chair across from Jacob for her to sit in.
Just checking before I sit down in midair. Yes, Moira will take a chair across from him and ask, I was looking more into some of the more occult research. Maybe it would be simpler if there were books you can't find at a normal kind library. I'm trying to learn everything I can to try to be more helpful.
About us, I take it.
Yes.
Writings on us are frowned upon by those of us with long memories. They see it as nothing but a hindrance, a possibility for others to find and use against us. Still, there are some with general information.
Uh, Correction, it doesn't have to be you our group specifically. It's just that the world is a different place than what I thought it was growing up, and I want to find out everything I can. If that includes that of what you're talking about, that's nice, but I'm not. It's just some more general knowledge on everything that's going on, including some books that may not show up in a normal library. More
Ah,
general occult lore than anything else, more specific than that. It doesn't have to be weaknesses of certain things that are never to ever be written down. I'm not looking for that.
in that case, I may be able to help you. It will take me some time as I have limited sources who keep written copies of that, and so they can be touchy when it comes to contact. I assume you have no trouble with time limit of a few days?
No. No, and I'm more just hoping that the kind of books you come up with have already separated the wheat from the chaff for these kinds of things.
The ones I'm thinking of should be more or less accurate and not so filled with misdirection, flotsam, and speculation.
Good.
How are you finding your new existence? Do you have a direction?
I'm figuring that out. I'm still trying to get settled in a place with everything that's happened the last few days. But it's going.
That is good. I must admit, I'm surprised. It's not like Iris to leave you without some sort of support. I seem to recall she takes rather good care of those in her charge.
I was under that impression as well. I'm sure that there were reasons. I just don't know what they are.
Hmm, yes, indeed. Well, let me offer you this in the meantime while I seek for the paperwork. Jacob will sit up a bit, seem a bit more focused on the conversation, less of his lounging about, put aside for the moment. If you have any questions that you would like answered immediately, I can do my best for them. Although my first warning to you is this. I will be as truthful as possible, but I won't make that promise about other kindred.
I don't think there's very much I know about the Toreador in general.
We are called by most the Rose. our clan focuses on the arts and the artistes that create them. We, well, we along with one or two other clans in our history are sufficiently responsible for the masquerade founding that we take a serious interest in preserving and maintaining it.
Definitely sounds like a good cause.
We try for it to be. Aside from that, we're not too much different from your average kindred. We still drink blood. We pursue the full human spectrum of emotions to remain in, how would be the best term? To remain connected with that which we once were. It's rare that you'll find an utterly emotionless Toreador.
Well, among us, passions run deep, I guess.
That they do.
But I think in that regard, I probably would be better suited for the Venture. I'm not the artist type, per se.
Oh. Well then, I presume that you likely took the offer provided by Mr. excuse me, Primogen Stanshope to maintain your services amongst them.
Yes, the final details of that are still being ironed out. I only really have a place among the Venture if someone would be willing to take me on as a retainer or a vassal.
I think so. Your talents lend you most to those roles.
Apparently.
Might I ask what those talents would be?
Probably my modest ability to manage money and manage people seems to be something some of the Venture would see valuable.
Yes, they would. They spend a great deal of time focusing on large business endeavors. Anyone who can help them manage on the smaller levels is sure to be valuable.
I've kept my business for this long. Few years.
Ah, and you have your own business. Moderately self-sufficient, then.
I have everything I needed to take care of myself, and I guess it was efficient enough that it drew attention.
That is often the way. I almost wish I'd run into you before they had. I'm going to have need of a manager in some time. Although it may be a bit more small scale than what you're already working with.
There are a lot of people in the city. I'm sure someone could be found eventually.
Yes, I'll have to put out one of those help wanted ads. Were your questions about how to maintain yourself amongst us related to etiquette, behavior, that sort of thing?
I know how to handle myself in polite society, among polite kindred, too.
Hmm. So, just general knowledge then. All right.
More just everything that's going on that I didn't always know about or had not been confirmed. There's a lot of questions kind have that are never answered because they never get close enough to the truth.
Aha! The secrets behind the veils of lies.
As a purveyor of books, I figured that you would be able to find some amount of research that had already been confirmed but would never get to a kind's hands.
Oh yes, now that I have a better idea of what you're looking for, I definitely think I can find something like that. You're speaking of something more historical, not necessarily, well, as much recent events as historical events that we may have been involved in.
History, general knowledge of what is actually going on without needing to go into anything as specific as, like you said, weaknesses among the kindred.
Hmm. Have you ever heard the term Sabbat and Camarilla used before?
Yes, I'd been
And
told about the struggles between them both.
hmm,
And there are hints that they're circling the city in their own way. The Sabbat.
ah, oh, she was a seneschal. I suppose you would have heard about those things. Yes, we have some rodents here and there creeping in that we endeavor to stomp out when they decide to make themselves more trouble than we're willing to allow.
From an organization I've seen, it can be handled. It would just be difficult to handle if by surprise.
You're correct. It is much like most battles. It's a great deal easier to handle what's coming when you know it is. The surprises boil down to our preparation and our ability to unify under short notice, which varies from kindred to kindred, as some of us have very long memories.
Even the kindred have their own differences, like humans have their own differences between them, just more so with the kindred.
Very much. When a small argument can span two very powerful or very old creatures, there's a multitude of ways in which they can solve or escalate their disagreement. Sometimes it is simple. In other cases, it can span decades.
Mm-hmm.
Your Domitor would be an example of that. She held grudges very well.
Yes, from what I saw, he was doing the job of Seneschal well.
From where I sat as well, it's why when she initially threw her bid in to become prince when the seat was open, I didn't see much reason not to support her. He thought it might be good for the city. She had her head on straight most times.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want to keep you for too much longer. I'm sure you have other matters that you must work through with your new days.
Yes.
Do you have some contact information through which I can reach you when I receive your books?
Yes. I have a cell phone number you can reach me at in the future.
Excellent. He'll take out a small book from his pocket, lay it out, pull out the pen, and wait.
Yep. She writes out the number for him and hands the notebook back.
He takes it, looks over briefly, closes it, puts it away. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Since you were somewhat close to Miss Breckenridge, you don't have to worry so much about payment for this book in particular. Think of it as a gift to get you on your way.
I appreciate it. Something catches in her throat when she says that, and thanks you for the book.
Jacob raises an eyebrow when he notices that brief break in character. Let's see. How shall we do this? I don't think he's going to risk trying to. So, I'm just going to roll perception empathy and see if he notices it, and have him play it out normally. Yay, he notices. He'll lean forwards a moment and, trying his best to sound concerned, he'll ask, "Something on your mind?"
I'm still getting used to being around as many kindred as I have other than my Domitor.
Ah. Well, stick around, and maybe if you're brought to a few more Elysiums, you may get used to it. We aren't that many, not in the city anyway.
No, just a group of enough people that I've barely met or only met once. Most of the people I deal with day to day I've known for years, so it's a bit of a change.
Ah, I understand. He will rise up from the seat without saying anything else, make his way over to the door, and unlocking it, draw it open for her.
Moira takes the exit and nods again. Thank you. Before leaving.
Anytime, he says, as he closes the door, walks out behind her, and watches her go with a thoughtful expression.
Moira's just glad to get out of the bookstore finally and walks the 2 blocks away to her car and drives back to doing what the business she needs to conduct for the rest of the night before going to sleep.